All right, got the old man's 67 BSA Lightning here on the stand here. Needs a little work, little maintenance here before it's a late winter here. Not even spring yet, but I figure I better get going on this. I been messing around with a little DT 100 most of the winter. Taking a bit longer than expected with getting parts for that. But yeah, just far in depth I'm going to go with what I'm doing with this. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Mainly just discussing the bike market, watching some YouTube videos, and the market's goofy. Definitely, there's not a lot of buyers out there. There's definitely a lot more sellers. So yeah, let's first thing I want to do is notice this here, that terminal, and the coil, rubbing on that. It's just touching there. My side cover, his side cover. I'm gonna pull that cover off, get that tweak, go drain the oil tank, pull the sump plate, pull the valve cover. Yeah, let's get started on that. Maybe it wasn't touching. Seemed like it's me, but I'm gonna just get that in a better spot. Look at the panel here. Pretty cool. This bike used to have like a gold leaf or whatever you want to call it, metal flake 70s paint job, which I really kind of wish would have stayed, but it got changed up early 2000s. Anyhow, give that a tweak and pull the oil tank plug. What we're showing on the stick there. Hopefully this setup works. Seems like I always make a mess doing this. Find out here in a little bit. So I got that going. A little bit dripping in the pan here, so it's a little bit's getting by. Pan down at the bottom. Like I said, every time I do this, I make a mess. We'll just let that trickle for now. More going into the funnel versus what's dripping down there, so I'm calling that a win. I'm going to take a look at the sump cover. Well, here we are. A little bit of road grime going on there, as to be expected. Just trying to not get any grime in the oil pan there. Road grime from these nuts in the cover. But yeah, it's kind of, inevitable. I think something's going to get in there. This bike's not running the filter, it's just running the regular stock screens, sump screen that's in the oil tank. So looking at the board, says 23 was when the oil was last changed. I'm not too sure on that, to be honest with you. It could be. Very possible. It was supposed to be just a temp engine to put in, and how things go. Original engine still hasn't been taken apart yet. Other things going on, but it seems to run pretty decent. We do got a little oil leak. Head never got retorqued. After initial break-in or anything. I don't think he did anything to it. I know I didn't. Pretty sure he didn't. This thing lives here mostly. So yeah, I'm gonna retorque the head. Maybe that'll it's over on this side when it's on its kickstand. Get a little bit of oil from one of these right in here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's right in here, and which makes sense. It's not gonna pull the head, just gonna tighten it up, see what happens. All right, as expected, a oil change on A65. We got a pretty good mess going here. Multiple pans. Obviously, it's doing the engine oil. Yeah, gonna get the valve cover off there and letting that stuff do its dripping. I think it's pretty much. Let me get this thing out of the way. I don't want to knock that off the bucket there. That'd be a freaking Exxon Valdez situation on the floor. This may give me a false indication of an oil leak down the road. That conduit there, that loom, has oil probably going down inside it. It'll do something down here. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. Might start dripping out of that loom at the bottom. Time will tell, Just glancing at the oil. I think there may be some little pieces of, I don't know how clean this pan was when I started that. I don't think it was immaculate, but it was decent. But I'll drain that oil in the bucket here and see what we got. Hopefully I don't drop my phone in there, right? I don't see anything to be alarmed of. You know, so, again, my eyes aren't the greatest either. Yeah. Let that just do its thing here. Get back to that valve cover I was speaking about. There's our oil tank screen. A little bit of bits in there, maybe. That wiped off. See what we got. All right. You know, where I think I see a little metallic stuff. I think it's just like little air bubbles or dirt or whatever. Just stuff that may have been in the pan there. I'm gonna dump this other pan in here. It's been sitting under the bike. Pretty sure it'll be the same scenario. Yeah, man. Same deal. Pretty clean. Really clean oil. Yeah, check it out. New toy. New to me, at least. There's a pan from the sump. Clean, too. There's just lots of little scratches in there. Well, looks good, though. Just trying to get all the, you know, don't want to have a mess everywhere when I'm doing this. It gets annoying. Hey, there's a little DT. Still, got some parts coming in. You know, this video may mention, it's me whining about parts. Here is 14 YZ250. You can get parts for them all day long. You name it, anything. Yeah, that's kind of why that's in here now. I do got an old CR500. Parts are out there. Not everything, and the prices are pretty high on them. Parts on this, yeah, way affordable. Way affordable bike to run. Yeah, holding this set of plastics was under $100. UFO, whole new box of plastics. Got it with this tank. It needed cleaned up. But yeah, it's a 3.1 gallon tank. Came with FMF pipe, the factory pipe, and silencer, and brake pads, and filters, and throttle cables, some other stuff. It came with lots of stuff. Fairly fresh top end on it. Strong running bike. But yeah, 35. So I mean that's pretty good. You know, all that stuff and all the parts and fresh top end and pretty good shape. Really clean bike. Actually, he got it from the original owner, which had never started it, and came with a title from the original owner. Probably gonna try to get it titled my name, but yeah, much as I like the old two strokes of yesterday, the 80s bikes and 90s bikes, parts are getting harder to get, and if you can get them, people want quite a bit of money for them. So I've been saying it for a few years. I'm just gonna get a YZ250. Just gonna get a YZ250. Santa's gonna buy a new one, but then I started thinking if I could find a decent one, which I think I did get a pretty good one. That's what I did. Just pulled the trigger on that a few weeks ago. But back to this. Got that bolt come out of there, or stud. Gonna take the spindle off here. I got to pull the plugs out. Gonna work on retorquing his head. All right, this is off the left side here. Left bank, I guess. I want to call it that. It's not too bad. A little bit darker than I was wanting to see, but it ain't terrible. Yeah, we come over to this side. It's definitely a little lighter. Okay, yeah. Right on, right on. On the other side, the left cylinder, the primary side, I guess. This would be the mag side over here. Or no, I think it's snowmobile terms. Timing side would be this side. Yeah. Yeah, that darker plug on the left side, that is the side where we are getting the oil seep. Won't call it a leak, call it a seep, because it ain't much, but it is a little bit of something going on there. And yeah, there's no markings in here. These, at least when I did them on my bike, I marked the heads and the bolts and whatnot, to keep an eye on the movement of the bolts, you know, how much movement I was getting on the retorque. So yeah, definitely it hadn't been done. I know I didn't do it. Yeah, let's get after it. Yakking about it. I've done a video on retorquing the head on one of these, but I'll just note this guy's, you know, pretty good write-up on the Triumph Rat motorcycle forums. Backing it off half a flat, you know, mark it, back it off half flat, you know, you retorque it. And looking at where it's moved, and there's a sequence on the A65 I've got here, and there's my torques. So, as you may know, that spindle's got to come out because, yeah, that's kind of how they got them bolts underneath there for the head, just the way they did it. So, let's pull the spindle off there. Freed up these rockers here. We're working on getting that shaft out. Think about that washer there, huh? It's only the same type, just a regular looking old washer. Right on. Yeah, give that a little tappy tap. All right, exhaust rocker here. Got the spindle out in the rockers. I just want to double check the orientation of the washers and those springs. That's how I took them out. So they're in there correctly. You know, I don't do this very often. I'm, you know, there's a saying out there. What is it? Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, none of that either. I need the book. Yeah, I'd be lost out these notes and any of this stuff, paperwork. But yeah, bike values. You know, just like this. This bike was a derelict bike. Still in my mind, still a derelict bike. It's a runner. It's decent. It's good. Gets ridden, but definitely not a restoration. The values of these, who knows where they're really at. I see bikes that have, seems like really high prices on them for sitting in their uncle's barn, and he's passed away, unfortunately, and now somebody wants, somebody told him it's worth this much, and realistically it ain't. Guy's got a YouTube channel, really big channel, really. A lot of bikes. He just posted something a few weeks ago. I was looking at it last night, and that CR500 was in there, and he named a value, and I was like, yeah, man, he's definitely off. There's no way he's going to get what he's thinking. Well, maybe. Hopefully he does. I got one. I'd like to be what they were a few years ago, but they dropped down. That's a fact. The ATCs of the 80s, those have continued to go up. I need to wipe the body out in there a little bit more. Those have continued to go up, and maybe they're starting to slip a little bit. The four-wheeler ones, the ATVs, but the ATCs continue to go up. I don't see them going down. But could be wrong, you know, just opinions. Everybody's got one. Everybody thinks their stuff's worth more than it really is. There's a lot out there for sale. There ain't a lot of buyers. That guy I picked the YZ up from, he was just getting married and getting a house and all that. And, yep, time for the bike to go, and just set the phone down to do this. Time for me to pick up another bike. So, you know, timing's everything. And it was localish, not too far away. I like that. Wasn't even an hour away. All right, figured I'd show this after what I just got on this bolt here. Back this off, it's saying, you know, like half a flat, 5 o'clock basically, you know, or, I mean, we were at 5 o'clock minutes. Yeah, so 5 minutes, let's just say that. We're just gonna give it a little bit to back off. I mean, ever so slightly, okay. All right. Now we're going to torque it. I did that to this one, and man, did I get quite a bit of tighten up, snug up to get my 30 foot-pounds. I'm curious if this one does it too. I don't really know. Well, you won't know. I mean, I will know, obviously, but until I'm filming it. Well, that was the same as number 2 here, and number 1 down in the hole there. Don't forget that one. It didn't take that much. But yeah, this one here, she needed attention for sure. And I look at the hour meter on this. It shows 16, and I put that hour meter on there, I think, when I did the first initial oil change on this, I believe. Memory's not the greatest. So it ain't got much time on it, even though I said it's been ridden a little bit, you know. I'm guessing maybe 30 hours, hard to say. Now, this is our problem side. First nut, I've done it back just a little bit. Barely even tell, I think. That's got to get out of the way. You're out of there. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. We're getting quite a bit over here. This may take care of that weep. Show you how far that's moved. There's the mark on the fin. There's the mark on the nut. I believe we gotta go over to the other side. Gotta set up the paperwork. Yep, gotta go to this rear one. All right, quite a bit of, I'm gonna go over them one more time, but first time going around here, quite a bit of movement. You can see that there. See that there. This thing came, it's 180 from its mark. That was nothing significant there. This is the first retorque going around on it. That's a good amount of movement. A little bit there. Not much there. Just a little on this rear one. I think the head's fine. You know, it should have been done earlier on after a few heat cycles. It got ran quite, you know, it says it's got 16 hours on it, maybe twice that. You know, got ran a whole summer without an hour meter. Not a lot, just a few rides here and there, nothing crazy. These things don't get ridden cross country, obviously. They just get ridden on local back roads, you know, up to the pub or whatever type thing and back home. Yeah, the bike market thing, it's kind of goofy, you know. Kind of a rambling on video. I'm not gonna show this all going back together. I'll get the oil tank cleaned out. I've done videos on that. I gonna drill a hole up in the bottom of here, mount one of those. I did that before on my my Thunderbolt. My dad kind of likes that. He wants a brighter light, whatever. I'll put it on there. Let's get her done, right? Battery tender wire is broken, needs attention. Definitely gotta look over it, check out the chain, whatnot. Just, it's still winter here. Just getting this thing ready. Waiting on parts for that little Yamaha 100 there. But yeah, it's funny watching I think some of these guys are trying to inflate the market with, you know, auctions or whatnot. And I know one guy, he had one down in Florida. I think the bikes are really reasonable, really. So maybe not all of them are up to that. Some guys' bikes, I don't know the values of them. So I was watching one guy's video. I didn't really know but I knew the CR500. I look at it. The bottom fell out of nose. Like I said, the three-wheelers have gone up. Just keep climbing. Sport quads, they're dropping. You know, obviously certain things will pull more than others, but, you know, if it's a Banshee and a crate, yeah, sure. But regular Banshees here in Michigan that are sand dune runners, they're coming back down to reality, and that's where there should be. 250R, yeah, it should get a little bit more, not substantially more though. Quad racers, they've always been low. I noticed the 400s climbing up, the KFXs 400, the DRZ 400. Those are people are starting to notice those are good machines. And 400EXs, they always seem like people were getting more than what they should have got for those personally, compared to the even Arctic Cat had one, the DVX 400. That was all Suzuki. It was a Cowie had their plastics on it. Same with Arctic Cat, but it was a Suzuki. The 400, same engine that's in the DRZ enduro bike, same motor, just like the XR 400. That's a 400E. That motor is the same motor in the 400EX. But yeah, parts are plentiful for that stuff, but some of this stuff's getting difficult, and some of these niche bikes, I think these guys are gonna have trouble moving. There's not that many people getting into motorcycling. There's much more people getting out of it. So, like, I got some derelict stuff here myself. I call this thing a derelict, but it's at least running. Old derelict quad racer up there. It does run, but I'm pretty sure I need to probably pull the clutch cover, definitely drain the coolant, stuff like that. Don't know if I'll get to it this summer. I got that YZ I just picked up. Parts are plentiful, affordable. Makes more sense to run something like that, 85, 86 quad racer parts they're getting real hard to find. It is what it is. But yeah, I guess that's gonna wrap. It was something on one of the forums. Cannondale 440, if anybody remembers those. Buddy had one given to him up in Anchorage. We knew a guy that was a manager at a shop that was closing down. The customer had it dropped in there to get engine work done, realized he didn't want to spend that much on it. The dealership didn't even want it at that point. They're like, whatever, my buddy took it. He looked around at parts. I guess they're available. Not my thing. I know they had overheating problems of some sort. Either way, that's much as he knew about it too. He just pulled the suspension off of it, and the rest of it went into the trash can, and I mentioned that on a forum, not a forum, Facebook, and man, people are like, what? And it's like, yeah, man, they're just these derelict bikes that are out there. They're just not worth anything to some people. That's just the way it is, Times are changing. Not a lot of people are getting into it, and the stuff's sitting around. The longer it sits, the less it's worth, and this is again all opinion. But if you don't keep them going and keep them running, it's assembled parts. That's all you got. If you don't have a title, you got assembled parts without paperwork and backing. People that want to ride it, they're going to want a title, and if they got to go through the process of getting that, surety bond and go through the insurance and then the police come look at it, it turns into a real hassle. I've been down that road. I'll be going down it here again. It's just the way it goes. But yeah, I'm rambling too much, I guess, here. But yeah, that's it for now, I guess. It's my opinion on the bike market. Again, it's just an opinion. How about some comments? Who's got some derelict bikes laying around? Set on projects up at one buddy's shop. He calls it the shop of hopes and lost dreams. Sometimes some stuff gets more attention than others. I think that's how this bike's life was. It sat in my uncle's shop in the early 70s. Ended up, when that shop closed up, ended up out of this farm, sat there for 20 years, ended up in Michigan up here. My dad purchased it from my uncle's friends. They knew the original owner. But this bike, man, it was off the road till I think 14, 15, maybe 16. I can't even remember when I got it running. I got it running with this motor from Milwaukee. It was an estate purchase. They had 4 engines for a V twin shop, picked them up on an estate sale. I picked it up just knowing it was probably better assembled than what was going on with that thing. That's just, won't get into that. But personally, I was more comfortable running this motor here. But yeah, anyhow, what projects you guys got laying around that you want to get done and get after, and what ones you're just like, I'm kind of over it, just want to broom it down the road, and I can't seem to get rid of it. I've had that with snowmobiles. That's how I ended up with the DT 100. Couldn't get rid of that one sled. Put a lesser engine in it, and it was a budget build. We'll go with that. But I got her traded off. But that's it. Take her easy and have a good weekend. Later.